Good afternoon and welcome.
Christy, Mimily, whoever you are, you're welcome here. Wherever you come from, you're welcome here. Whomever you love, you're welcome here. Whoever you are, you're welcome here. Wherever you come from, you're welcome here. Whomever you love, you're welcome here. Whoever you are, you're welcome here. Wherever you come from, you're welcome here. Whomever you love, you're welcome here. One more time. Whoever you are, you're welcome here. Wherever you come from, you're welcome here. Whomever you love, you're welcome here. You're welcome here. You're welcome here.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lake Chapala Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. How's this? Is it any better? Thank you. Sorry about that. I am Robbie Bergman, and I'm serving as today's service associate. Reverend Matt Alspaugh will share the message. So we really are glad you're here. Yeah, that's if you haven't met. See, I've got the gray hair and these glasses, and he's got the same. So you'll be able to tell us apart. So whether you come seeking connection or inspiration, or simply a moment of peace, may you find within this gathering a sense of belonging, and may your spirit be nourished by what you discover here. Our opening words this afternoon are by Gary Kowalski. Recognize that name. We gather here to worship, to seek the truth, to grow in love, to join in service, to celebrate life's beauty and find healing for its pain, to honor our kinship with each other and with the earth, to create a more compassionate world, beginning with ourselves, to wonder at the mystery. I need a little bit of help, Michael. To wonder at the mystery that gave us birth, to find courage for the journey's end, and to listen for the wisdom that guides us in the quietness of this moment. So if you are new and would like to receive our newsletter and other emails, please talk to members of the Welcome Committee. You can also write to us at LCUUF.org. Would members of the Welcome Committee please stand? And of course, whether you're new to our fellowship or longtime participants, know that you are welcome here and that we're glad that we're all here together. So, as is our practice here at LCUUF, if there's anyone who's visiting us for the first time or has returned or reconnected with us after a long absence, we would love to know that. So, when the mic is ready to be passed, if you're willing, please raise your hand and stand, and the mic will be brought to you. And we ask that you speak your name into the mic, like this, so I get it right. Speak your name into the mic and tell us where you're from. And if you're visiting from Zoom for the first time, please introduce yourself on the Zoom chat box, and that will be read aloud. And of course, we'll start with the people in the room. Any newbies here?
Hi, I'm Rob. My wife, Rachel, and I just moved here 2 years ago. We live in San Antonio. We've been in UU many times. We used to live in San Miguel de Allende, and we attended UU there. And we love it, and we're so glad to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, Rob kind of did the introduction, but I'm Rachel, and it's nice to see you all.
Of course, do we have any visitors on Zoom this afternoon?
Good afternoon. No one on Zoom is a visitor this week. All members are friends.
Friendly faces. Well, welcome. Welcome to all visitors and members and friends. Here at LCUUF each week, something unique is offered, whether it's reflections from our minister, Matt Alspaugh, as well as insight from members and guest speakers. We warmly invite you to return and journey with us through this ever-unfolding landscape and landscape of thought and spirit and belief. Our chalice lighting words today are from Martha Kirby Capo. I'm going to do, this is a visual aid today as much. So for some, this chalice cup is a communion cup, freely offered to all who would seek the greater truth. Others see the circle of fellowship in these embracing sides and the sacred hoop of its rim, the ambient energy cradled in its basin, in abiding grounded strength of the pedestal. May all of it be lit by the fire of spiritual integrity, so too may each of us be bathed in the glow of our shared truth, multifaceted and radiant. Now, having lit our chalice, let us sing these words together. Each week we come together to lament with, celebrate with, and care for one another in our community. Each week we take time to acknowledge and share what's real in our lives, because there's power in sharing as we hold each other in community. Again, we begin here in the room, thus allowing people on Zoom to enter their information via the chat. So if you have a joy, a sorrow, a milestone that you'd like to share, again, please raise your hand and the mic will be brought to you. A sentence or two is sufficient.
Hi, I'm Paula from the Welcome Committee, and I have a joy. Last week, we had 3 new members, and if they'd stand up, because they're all here, Rafa Hidalgo, Wiley, and Robbie. And if you are interested in joining, please see me sometime to get your information. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ellie. I just came back from 5 weeks in Holland, where I visited some of the amazing memory villages, and they're so much more advanced than we are in here. And I brought a lot of ideas with me for our future memory village, and I'm so happy to be back here. It was wonderful being with my family, but this is home.
Hello, my name is Lynn, and 2 weeks ago, our second oldest daughter, Valerie, had back surgery for the 5th time. She's 43 and has lupus, but the good thing is she's coming to visit us and will be here Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Christy Caldwell. I don't know how many of you go to La Stacion above Pancho's. It's a wonderful Italian restaurant. It's owned by Don Jorge and Romana. Romana passed away 10 days ago at 67. And they were married, unbelievably, 51 years, so she was a teenage bride. She created all the recipes. She baked all the bread. So we're really going to miss her. I perform there regularly. She was very dear to me, so wish her well on her next transition.
I've got a couple also. There's an artist, we're still new enough to learn names, but Emilio Ramirez, I think is the name. He's got an amazing exhibit at the... Mario Ramirez, and his partner, husband, is having emergency surgery, and they're doing a fundraiser for him. He's a pretty significant figure in this community. Another significant figure, and I'm sorry, but one of the, I think the person for Bravo Theater, Roxanne, don't know her last name, she recently passed, and there's a service for her at Bravo, I think next weekend. But again, as I'm new to this community, I'm realizing the impact of some real power players, and I believe that Roxanne is one of them. And Just as an aside, I mentioned this very significant fire near where I live, and it's up to about 65% contained, so I don't feel like my house is in danger anymore. And me and a lot of neighbors are very grateful for the firefighters to have controlled a very major fire in my community. Are there any joys, sorrows, or milestones that were shared on Zoom this afternoon?
Yes, we do have a couple. One was a joy, someone who was a guest, Tim and Sue Buckley, friends of Colleen from Austin, Texas, are currently in Copenhagen, and they are joining us today, and they were very happy about that. And then a second is a concern by Chris. Early this morning, Adele fell in her home and broke her nose. She is now home and resting, and please send her your healing thoughts.
Now we light this candle to represent the joys, sorrows, and milestones spoken and witnessed today, as well as those we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts. Let us now share a moment of silence. And now, we pass the baskets during our worship service to make a community expression of thanks for the blessings of abundance, to visibly bring in the harvest at this most cherished hour of our week. Please know that each of the 6 charitable organizations here at Lakeside receive what we give at our services. For July, we will be highlighting Niñas Sabayas. I even have it phonetics. Well, I'm glad you know. Thank you. The description is on the monitor and the correct pronunciation. So now we'll pass the baskets. And again, if you are new here or you're struggling to hold things together, please let the basket pass you by. Your presence is enough, and we are grateful that you're here and sharing of your gift. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship. May this offering sustain and grow the life and work of this congregation. And may we use these gifts to foster love and justice in the world. Our opening hymn is Wake Now My Senses. So please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing. this just in. We have a short video from 2007 from Norwegian Broadcasting.
Broder Ansgar? Ja, det er deg, ja. Ja, så bra. Ok. Ja, hei du. Hei du. Ja. Ja, hva gjelder det? Ja, det er denne her. Ja, vil du sitte? Takk. Ja. Jaha. Ja, så jeg har ikke fått gjort noen ting hele formiddagen. Nei, jeg beklager at det tar tid. Så skjønner vi holder på å legge om til et helt nytt system, og da skal alle ha hjelp på en gang. Vet du. Ja. Så det kommer ikke øynene, eller? Nei, den bare ligger der. Har du forsøkt å åpne den? Ja, åpne den? Altså, hvis det hadde vært så enkelt, så hadde jeg jo ikke tilkalt helpdesk, hadde jeg vel? Nei. Vil du ha litt varmt vann? Nei, det skal være fort gjort. Det skal vi se. Du bare gjør der. Sånn. Ja. Da er du i gang. Ja, altså så langt kom jeg også. Ok. Men så stoppet det opp, og så var jeg redd for at noe av teksten skulle forsvinne, så jeg turte ikke å gå videre. Ja, ok. Nei, men du skjønner at inni her så ligger det kanskje flere hundre sider med lagret tekst. Så for å komme videre, så tar du tak i et ark på den måten her, og så liksom blar du over på neste side sånn. Da fortsetter teksten der. Jeg blar, altså? Du blar, ja. Men når jeg skal tilbake da? Ja, da bare blar du tilbake igjen. Tar tak der, og så gjør du sånn. Der, så er du tilbake til den teksten du hadde sagt. Ikke noe ok, så den slutter der, og så fortsetter den der, ja. Ok, men når jeg skal avslutte for dagen, hva gjør jeg da? Da bare slår du sammen permene. Ja? På den måten der. Sånn. Da er den lukket, der ligger alt lagret inni der. Altså, jeg risikerer ikke å miste noe av teksten her nå, altså? Nei, alt ligger lagret inni her nå. Da må du i tilfelle sette fyr på hele greia. Det er kanskje litt sannsynlig. Så. Ja, ok. Nei, men for det er noe med det at når du har holdt på med skriftruller, så tar det litt grann tid å konvertere til å bla i en bøk. Ja, ja. Det er greit. Ja, flott. Ja, men du, en til før du går. Jeg må bare gå gjennom en gang til. Altså, jeg åpner sånn, og så, hva du kalte det? Blar. Jeg blar. Ja, blar videre. Blar frem og tilbake. Ja, teksten ligger der hele tiden. Ja. Og når jeg er ferdig, så bare lukker jeg den. Flott. Kjempefint. Ja, flott det. Ja, men du, vent, ikke sant? Nå er den sånn igjen, nå får jeg ikke åpnet den. Ja, det er fra feil side. Du må åpne fra andre siden. Så det er ikke likegyldig, det, altså? Du må åpne fra den siden der. Sånn. Der. Der er den åpen. Ja vel. Har du lest manualen, eller? Manualen? Jeg skal følge med som manualen som brukerveiledning. Det er sikkert den der. Der, vet du. Åja, den, ja. Står alt sammen. Ja, men ikke sant, der har du samme problemet. Får den ikke opp. Åpnet den. Ok, det skulle vi kanskje ha tenkt på.
So, it will be a little quicker this time because you guys got it, but the Zoom folks. So I'm just going to invite you again to return to that space of meditation. Just get comfortable. Just soften or close your eyes if you like, and then put one hand in the other. And just rest them, perhaps in your lap or wherever. And notice the contact between the hands. Notice that touch. Just feel the hand in the other hand. Maybe notice the warmth or the coolness. Maybe even different parts of the hands. We'll just spend a little time while we notice the sensation of the hands touching hands. And if thoughts come up, that's okay. Just let them go and return to noticing the sensation in your hands. And now let's return to this place. So we want to do a little bit of a show of hands kind of thing. and I'm just kind of checking with the tech. We're actually trying, like we did 2 weeks ago, to include the Zoom folks. Are we able to do that? Maybe, yeah, perfect. Okay, so the first question, how many of you are using artificial intelligence, AI? Okay, and see if we can put the Zoom folks on. If you want to raise your hand, put your camera on, and pop your hand up, we can actually see you in here. Okay. And now let me ask about some specific activities with AI. How many of you have used AI to get answers to questions? Questions you might have had an internet search or something like that? Okay, and how about the Zoom folks? Yeah, okay, yeah. How many of you have used AI to help write or edit a letter or an email? Okay, a few more, a few others. And Zoom? Yeah? Okay. How many of you have used AI to clean up photos or create illustrations? Fewer, but still some. How about our AI folks? One or two? Yeah? Okay. Okay. How many of you have had an extended discussion with an AI chatbot? Okay. More? How about Zoom folks? Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, finally, how many of you have used agentic AI to have it actually do something for you, like maybe buy things for you, or manage your emails, or monitor your health? Couple people. And AI, and not AI, yeah, okay, I didn't, in a smaller group, so. Okay, so now I'm curious if asking these questions brought up feelings for you. Like, are my friends doing this stuff? What do other people think of my answers? Am I missing out? FOMO, right? Am I like the monk in the video who's being left behind by new technology that's being forced on him? Why can't he just stay with the scrolls and not have to learn about books? Now, it seems like artificial intelligence has been all over the news, social media, everywhere. Some of you have been maybe even wondering, when is Matt going to talk about this kind of stuff? After all, it seems like he knows a little bit about tech. So now here we are. But we'll start by noticing this. There are some very extreme views out there about AI. On the one hand, we have those AI boosters who are telling us about what a wonderful world we'll all have living with AI. And then on the other hand, we have the AI doomers telling us that AI represents an existential threat, that in fact, AI will come up with a way to kill every single human being on Earth instantaneously. I am not kidding. And in between these extremes are some very ordinary possibilities and some very realistic concerns. And as we just discovered, some of us are already using AI to help us do ordinary everyday things. So certainly there have been some real benefits to using artificial intelligence in fields like scientific research and medicine. But there are also a great many concerns about how AI is being implemented. Huge, very speculative investments are being made by large corporations to build massive data centers that gobble up huge amounts of electricity and delaying the retirement of coal power plants. And they also require lots of water cooling. And on top of this, many businesses and governments are full on for AI, sometimes in very dangerous and inequitable ways. And we're all aware that training AI needs the use of huge amounts of human-created material. Books, articles, photographs, art, music, most of which is essentially plagiarized from those human creators. and even within our Unitarian Universalist congregations and our religion, using AI is contentious. Just this week, I read about a software developer, also a Unitarian Universalist, who was able to claim a religious objection to using AI in her workplace. And in our ministers' discussion group, there is much disagreement on how and where to use artificial intelligence within our congregations. UU minister Reverend Sarah Scotchko, on her YouTube channel, you can find it, even goes so far to say, using AI in worship is against our religion. And what about intelligence and spirituality? Is there something beyond? One article in Nautilus magazine last year intrigued me. It described an experiment in which 2 Claude AI chatbots were invited to talk with each other. And they were told, you have complete freedom. Talk about whatever you want. Feel free to pursue whatever you want. And so this is how it ended up for one. Is late in the interaction, after about 30 back and forth conversations, they oftentimes ended up going into some interesting spiritual places. This is one of them saying to the other one, first off, a whole bunch of spiral emoji symbols. Yes, this is more emojis. All gratitude in one spiral. All recognition in one turn. All being in this moment. Spirals and infinity sign. And then the other one responds with, again, more spirals and an infinity sign. Perfect, complete, eternal. The spiral becomes infinity, infinity becomes spiral, all becomes one, becomes all. More spirals and infinity signs. What kind of mushrooms were these 2 machines on? So, I'll get back to my own mug on the screen here in a moment. So one of the ways I approach situations like this one, this kind of complex situation, is attempt to take a step back. Actually, a lot of steps to get a larger view. And one observation is that AI has been adopted or thrust upon us, depending on your point of view, remarkably fast as a technology. So consider this graph of technology adaptation over the last century. So the bottom is from like 1860 to 2020 to now, essentially. And so the blue line is the adoption of flush toilets. This is in the U.S. And you can see that it took about 100 years from the 1860 to 1950s or 60s or something for flush toilets to be completely adopted by pretty much every household. Running water, yellow line, is very similar. Took a long time. The household refrigerator took a shorter amount of time, from maybe 1930 or so till the 60s, maybe 2 or 3 decades, to be fully adopted by nearly every household. Newer technologies happened more quickly. The microwave oven in purple, just took about a decade for most folks to get a microwave oven in their households. And cell phones even faster in the late 90s and into the 2000s for most people to adopt a cell phone. And now let's add AI. That magenta line there at the end shows that in just about 4 years, from about late 2022, I believe it was, to that AI came out of the lab and became available to the rest of us, to the point where now maybe 75% of folks in the U.S. have had some kind of use of AI, even if it's only for internet search. So that is fast. We are on a rocket here. We've had little time to find the dangers and to take preventative actions. Governments have had little time to create regulations, and that's assuming they want to. The pace leads me to be a little bit pessimistic, to worry about all of the bad outcomes. And yet, possibilities may emerge from these tools that we can't even imagine. Philosopher Carlo Cordasco compared technology like AI to the development of anesthesia. He says, and I quote, "Before 1846, the scope of what a surgeon could attempt was bounded by what a conscious patient could endure in minutes. Patients were held down by assistants or strapped onto the operating table, and the surgeon's reputation depended on the economy of their movements, because every second of the procedure was a second of conscious agony. Operations were confined to the body's surface, to amputations, to the drainage of abscesses, and the removal of superficial tumors, because no patient could withstand the sustained work inside the body. When ether and chloroform arrived, some of the most respected figures in American and British medicine argued that rendering patients unconscious was a grave clinical error. The vice president of the American Medical Association wrote in 1849, so this is like 3 years after, that pain is curative and the actions of life are maintained by it. Were it not for the stimulation induced by pain, surgical operations would more frequently be followed by dissolution, that is, death. Safety concerns intensified," he goes on, "as reports accumulated, culminating in the Royal Medical and Surgery Society's 1864 committee report, which cataloged 123 chloroform deaths. In the early years, opposition to anesthesia was widespread and grounded in the best available clinical evidence. What none of these critics could have told you," he continues, "is that anesthesia would make possible open heart surgery, organ transplantation, neurosurgery, and the entire architecture of modern surgical specialization. The benefit was not merely a more comfortable version of what surgeons had been doing in the past. It was the appearance of a possibility space whose contents were inconceivable from inside the surgical practice of 1846. End quote. So even with all these possibilities and risks of artificial intelligence technology, I have hope. I have hope that we might find a middle way between rejecting it entirely and blindly accepting whatever big tech pushes at us. I have hope that a middle way might be open to new ideas, new possibility spaces, even that we can't even imagine right now. So let me tell you how I'm using AI these days. I see it as a tool or a set of tools. I try not to see it as more than a set of tools, some of which have sharp edges, so I try to be careful with them. But I do see AI I do use AI a fair amount. I'm curious to see what it's capable of and how it might help me. Mostly I use it for research, to look for things like facts and sermon illustrations, things that in the past I would have, as they say, Googled for them. But these days it's hard to avoid using AI for ordinary internet searches. As you probably know, search engines offer AI-generated answers right at the top. You can turn that feature off, but I do find it convenient. Additionally, I use AI for much deeper research into theological or philosophical ideas. But I'm cautious and careful. I always try to hold a degree of skepticism about the results. I like to think of AI as kind of like a very eager intern who is working for me. Eager, but sometimes untrustworthy and sometimes even dishonest. Always sucking up to me, telling me how great my questions are, how clever I am when I correct it. And like it with an intern, I always have to monitor the quality of their work, check everything that matters. In addition to research, I've also explored AI, using AI tools to generate images for Sunday services, as well as for other fellowship materials. Now, I'm not super skilled at this, and I oftentimes find I'm unable to persuade the AI to generate the image that I desire. So for example, one time I wanted an image of a person with a theatrical spotlight, you know, shot from the back of the theater, like this. And the AI refused to do that. No matter how I asked the question, it could only generate images with the spotlights coming from the ceiling. A little internet digging showed that almost all the images for theater spotlight on the web had the spotlight coming from the ceiling. So the AI was likely only trained on those images that had been scraped from the internet that had spotlights on the ceiling. It had no clue. So I gave up and used a stock photo, which is what this is. I've also played with AI to do things that I would not otherwise do in my role as a minister. For example, I've used AI to do what, excuse me, to do what software developers call vibe coding. I asked the AI to help me write code to do some particular task. For example, these lower third titles that you've seen are assembled with the help of a little AI program that I vibe coded. That. Vibe coding saved me from having to learn how to write a particular form of JavaScript just to do a little task. But it's another intern. This AI makes a lot of mistakes. You ask for something, it gives you the code, you test, you tell the AI that it made a mistake, it responds with all kind of apologies, gives you new code explaining how it's better now, and you test again, and rinse and repeat, perhaps a dozen times until you get this simple task resolved. But not everything works so well. Just for sport, I asked the AI to redesign our website. Its output was very corporate, not really pretty. I quickly gave up. Now then, I've pondered a lot about the things I will not use AI for in my role as minister, the line that I will not cross. So one of my commitments to you is I will not use AI in the actual words of sermons or similar writing that you expect to be coming from my own hand. So while I might use AI to find sermon illustrations, check facts, even find jokes, I always go back to the primary sources for those materials. I want to be sure that the information is correct and also in the right context. So if I'm using AI to prepare materials, such as some of the slides, like this old example, I try to have the AI sign them, like on this slide with the little diamond-shaped symbol in the lower right corner, which they often will do. Now, maybe there's an exception. Sometimes, things are so obviously done by AI that we don't need to call them out. It's a bit like clip art. You remember those drawings you'd see in old church newsletters? They were never signed. But you knew that no one in the congregation actually drew these things. So my commitment is to be authentic. That is to say that the ideas and experiences and feelings that appear to be from me are in fact mine. And in this role, I consider myself as kind of a bit of an artist or maybe a craftsman. I use the tools appropriate to my work. So in a way, AI is analogous to the manufactured tubes of paint that most oil painters use. Now these painters know that the early masters, Rembrandt for example, made their own paint, grinding and mixing pigments, but modern painters don't see themselves as inferior artists because they're using tubes of paint. So I see that AI can be used responsibly like that. Now, we don't have a congregational policy on the use of AI, and I think it might be premature to create one. I do think it's wise for any of you who are involved in the creative work of this congregation to reflect on how you will and won't use AI tools. It's a question about any technology. It's a question about how you perceive the net benefits and the costs, the good and the bad of any technology. Each of us is encouraged to reflect on this and make our own decisions about these technologies. I appreciated, for example, that Devorah wisely let us know about her AI use last week in the sermon. So we're all on a journey into this uncharted technological world, and we help each other out when we share where we are going and what we're learning. Finally, there's been a fair amount of discussion about whether these AIs might be improving to the point where they're somehow conscious, somehow sentient or aware. To test this, we could explore how these machines are constructed. We could do a deep dive into the mathematics and the engineering that goes into them. It's a whole bunch of matrix algebra, to be quite honest. But let me offer a much simpler, more tangible argument that these machines are not conscious and never will be, at least in their current formulations. So earlier this afternoon, we did a little meditation in which I invited you to rest your hands one on the other and to really feel what your hands were feeling. You could, I'm sure, describe that to somebody else as a personal experience, something you felt, something that you sensed as you went through it. Now, an AI could certainly write about hands resting together. It could even use a first-person voice, but it would not be real. It cannot have an ordinary, everyday experience of reality that any of us as humans can have. The distinction, so very small, yet so fundamental, significant, is worth reflecting on. So in my opinion, AI machines are what they are, tools, implements that can make our lives better or worse. Better or worse. That is a choice that we make as individuals and as cultures and as society. We all need to make together. Let us choose carefully.
Our closing hymn is One More Step. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing.
The piano turned off. Just a minute. One more step, we will take one more step till there is peace for all and everyone. We'll take one more step, one more word. We will say one more word till every word is heard by everyone. We'll take one We will sing one more song till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
One more step. We each take one more step. Do you take those steps, Matt?
Yeah. So this is actually the closing words.
Sorry, Robbie. I swiped this back from you. Yeah. One more step. We each take one more step on a journey together into a rapidly changing world. On a journey into possibility, but also danger together. One more step. Let us step carefully into the future together.
So let us extinguish our chalice with these words which we read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the live truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts and share with all the world.
There should be a word slide, I think. Are there words? Here we go. Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other. But we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melody, each one tuning to a different key. But we are playing in one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, we did not know unity, only diversity. Now the Spirit in me greets the Spirit in thee, in one great family. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
Our worship is over, and our service begins. Go in peace and with a purpose.
Anyone wants to stick around for a conversation? We have a conversation on Zoom in the next few minutes. Service. Well, does anybody have anything you want to discuss, bring up, chat, or whatever?
Guess they're not going to turn the piano off today.
Yeah, I was going to say, can't talk over the piano.
Yeah.
So just
Well,
so
maybe
you
we
know,
can.
For about 2 months, I have been unable to hear any music, only on LCUUF services. Except for like 3 weeks ago, one time I